Welcome to Torah Smash, the podcast for nerdy Jews, where our lives of Jewish learning collide with our love of nerd culture. In each episode, we discuss what we lovingly call a Torah Smash, which we have defined as a beautiful collision of one thing from the world of Judaism with another from nerd culture. I am Barak Malkin, and joining me today are...
Ethan Lane Miller.
RDY, the third part to your harmony.
At the end of August, a new movie released on Netflix, and it has been taking the world by storm. That movie is K-pop Demon Hunters. I don't know if you are all obsessed with this movie like my 5- and 7-year-old are obsessed with this movie, but I am so happy that my friend told me to watch it because it is incredible. And we can talk more about the details in the episode, but what I want to focus on is that this is a story about a group of individuals who are chosen to essentially be the protectors of our realm by singing songs to help seal the Honmoon, which is a barrier that helps to keep the demons out of our world. So, with that piece of magic in mind, what Jewish custom will we be smashing with this incredibly catchy hit movie?
Is it the blood over the doors on Passover?
Oh, it's not, but I like that.
Yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about the custom of cantors and having cantors lead us in prayer.
Oh, also nice. Not, I don't know any cantors that are, quote, sealing a Hanmoon of any sorts and keeping demons at bay.
I don't
Uh,
know of anyone keeping demons.
Sure. I'll give each of you, you got one more guess of, let's focus again on this barrier that helps to protect.
Asu siag la Torah, building a fence around the Torah.
No. Ethan, one last one.
No, I think my first guess was good.
All right. Well, for this episode, we will be talking about the Jewish tradition of hanging a mezuzah on your doorpost.
Oh.
Oh, see,
So-
I never think of that as the talisman that I do
Yeah.
know it is, but I never think.
Right. So we'll talk. Yeah. Well, before we get to the Jewish Huntrix, has everyone been able to see K-pop Demon Hunters yet?
Yes.
Yep.
Thoughts? Initial thoughts?
It was delightful. I had so much fun.
I've never been a fan of musicals, and that has been challenged in recent years because, like, I loved Rent, I loved Wicked. I'm not a fan of this kind of music. I thought it was over simplistic plot, obvious, Romeo and Juliet plus some Korean mythology or folktale or whatever. So, like, I can definitely understand why the kids that I'm tutoring for B'nai Mitzvah like it.
Sure.
Everyone had been telling me, you have to watch this, you have to watch it, you need to watch it. And I finally did, and I was like, oh yeah, they were right.
Maybe it's because my kids listen to the music so much, but I love it. I've been hooked. I'm definitely on the like K-pop Demon Hunters train. The writing in this movie is really good. There's a lot of thoughtful lyrics and double play on words and the way that things are laid out. Like, yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, seemingly simplistic, love story that happens going on the surface of it. But the story overall, I just think was so well written. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I was a big fan.
The story overall was based, like I said, Korean folktale because that's what it's based on.
Yeah,
So the story was written already. And I do agree that they did shoot some good one-liners in, but I feel like that's more Sesame Street-esque, where they do that for the people who are watching with the intended audience.
sure that this is meant for like late elementary, early middle school kids.
Yeah.
And that the rest of the stuff is meant for the adults. Like the little
Yeah.
pieces in there are throwaways for the adults.
Yeah, and I think
I-
that a part of that
I
is,
don't know.
you know, the violence was not bloody at all.
Yeah.
So that's usually indicates that it's comic book violence or for kids or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I
We'll
didn't
get.
hate it. I didn't
okay.
hate it. It just wasn't for me.
That's you right. I maybe because I'm getting forced to listen to it over and over again, but I'm a big fan. All right. Well, let's start off by just getting some more details about the mezuzah. Rabbi, Can you share more on like the origin and the purpose of the mezuzah?
Yeah, it's right there in Deuteronomy chapter 6, where it says, "You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." It doesn't mean that you should do what A.J. Jacobs did in his book, The Year of Living Biblically, and take a wax pencil and write the words on the doorposts of your house. It means you write them on a scroll, and the scroll needs to be, inspected as kosher in a very similar way that a Torah scroll would be inspected as kosher. It needs to be, clean, no mold, and the writing needs to be clear. And you roll it up and you put it in a canister, a very small canister, usually about the size of an adult's finger, and you nail that to the doorpost instead of writing the words on the doorpost of your house. The word mezuzah actually means doorpost.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But there's a word for when you use something to represent the bigger thing that it is.
Yeah,
But I don't remember that word. But now it's become a reference to the canister that holds the scroll to your doorpost.
that's fascinating. Yeah, and for my friend Jason, Jason has seen lots of mezuzahs on doorways. He's seen I have a hidden bookcase door in my basement where my office is, and so often when they're Jewish, I'll say, "Do you know what a mezuzah means?" And they'll say something, and I'll say it means there's a door, and then I push the bookcase open. It's like a nice reveal.
You've
And
shown me that bookcase operating, so
yeah,
I did know that already. That's really cool.
yeah, it's super fun. And often the culture is that when you are entering and exiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that when you're entering and exiting a room with a mezuzah, well, I guess usually just the house of the mezuzah is when this happens. I don't think it's every single time you pass one.
It
You
depends on the
kiss,
person and how much of a superstitious person they are.
yeah. So you just take your fingers, you kiss the mezuzah with your fingers. I've only seen it happen on the entering a house for some people. I don't kiss the mezuzah on the way in and out.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it does feel like it's a bit of a superstitious thing.
Totally.
That's how I've always felt.
Right, but it's like it feels like it's scripture, right? It's in the thing, hang this on the doorposts, right? And so it is instructed to us. But the purpose, and correct me if I'm wrong, is really this like sense of Jewish mystical protection for the household and for the room it's protecting, really.
It's really hard to say what the purpose was for something that was written a minimum of 3,000 years ago, but I would say it does two things. Number one, you're following the directions to show that you're following the directions. Like you put this on the doorpost of your house to say, I am a faithful person who follows this religion. At the time, it wasn't called Jewish. They probably called themselves Hebrews. And so this is a symbol that shows this is a house for other Hebrews, for people who are in this same clan, and you're safe here, you're welcome here, you're going to find people who talk and think like you here. It has become more of a talisman. And I think that there might be some sort of chicken and egg thing between the kissing and believing it's a talisman, like it's a protection. There was an awful, awful statement by a rabbi explaining why the Holocaust happened because people had hung their mezuzahs incorrectly. Like,
Oh, geez.
yeah, it's like definition of victim blaming.
That's a superstitious it feels superstitious.
Yeah, and it's
And
victim blaming.
I had a highly religious cousin who likes to inform me of things, and I totally accept those because I like to learn and be informed of different viewpoints and things. And he had shared of like when I was having my child, make sure the mezuzahs are hung correctly, because there was a story about how the child was born and they were blind, and they discovered when they inspected the scroll that like the yuds were missing or something was like done wrong in one of the words, which like meant that they couldn't see. Like the word was there's something around sight or vision or something. And so when they corrected the scroll, miracles, miracles, the child was no longer blind. And so
Yeah.
there's this like sense of that, this superstition of this talisman, like if the words aren't correct, this protection isn't full.
I believe that about as much as I believe BTS is maintaining a Honmoon.
I want to see, is there other stuff about I know there's a rule about it has to be on the lower part of the upper third, pointed into the room, and it's not put on rooms like a bathroom because you're unclean in there.
Any room but a bathroom.
Every room except for a bathroom, right?
And it's also custom, like if you only have one, you put it on your main entry.
Right.
Like if you can only afford one, because klapim, the name for the scroll inside, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
They'll run you, 30 to $60.
And then when you leave a house, you're not supposed to remove those mezuzah. You're supposed to leave them. Is
Yeah,
that not?
that's a cultural or
Oh, okay.
like custom rather than a supposed to.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's. Is there anything else with mezuzot? By the way, mezuzot, the plural for mezuzah. If you're
Yeah, and I've
confused.
been saying mezuzahs because to me it is also kind of
Yeah,
become anglicized.
yeah,
Yeah.
Heblish.
Heblish, yeah. The reason that it tilts
Yeah.
is because of an argument between two rabbis. One said it needs to go straight up and down, and another said it needs to go horizontal. And they said, "Well, let's compromise and make them slant."
Interesting.
I
So
love rabbis.
this
Right?
is like the first time I've heard of a compromise as opposed to, and that rabbi won, right? I don't. Usually somebody wins.
Usually somebody wins. Usually it's Hillel, and also the one other incident I can think of is when there's an argument where one rabbi was saying that the laws were on his side, and all the rest of the rabbis were saying that he was wrong, and he said, if I'm correct, let the walls of this study hall collapse, and they started to collapse, and another rabbi stood up and said, "You got to stop," and the walls stopped, and then the Talmud's got a little like end note that says, "And to this day, the walls are slanted out of respect of both rabbis."
Wow, that's hysterical. That's so funny. Did we miss anything with mezuzot? Trying to think if there's anything else around the culture idea of mezuzot.
Many
So
people-
inside, we didn't even talk. Inside the scroll has the Shema and Via Hafta, correct? Or is it just the
Right.
Via Hafta?
I mean, Shema and Ve'ahavta are like today we think of them as two separate things, but at the time they were considered one thing.
Okay.
So it's Deuteronomy, I believe 4 through 9. It might be more than that.
Okay. And so that's the only thing that's usually included in the scroll is the Via Hafta, which is the one of the prayers in Judaism.
Right. So Shema is the central creed of Judaism, and that is Deuteronomy 6:4 is the line Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, which is Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. The second line, the line that we consider the second line of Shema, which is Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed, is not in the Torah. It means blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. That line is not in the Torah. That is an ancient long form Amen. So that's like if someone's saying that, then someone next to you is saying that, then you're like, oh yeah, I agree with you and all the other people that I heard say that. Shema is also unique in our liturgy in that we consider it a prayer, but it is not a prayer to God. It is a prayer to each other. It doesn't
Hear, O
say,
Israel. Yeah.
Hear, O Israel. Yeah. It doesn't say Shema Adonai, listen God. It says Shema Yisrael, listen Israel, and Israel refers to the Jewish people in liturgical context. So it's unique in that way, which also means it's that as a declaration of faith, it is prominent and on our front doors. Can I correct myself, please?
Yeah.
The verses inside of mezuzah. So in addition to Deuteronomy 6:4 through 9, which I had said earlier, it's also Deuteronomy 11:13 to 21, which is the next part of what we would say is Ve'ahavta.
Okay. So not 12. It seems like you skipped number 12. 9 through 11
Sorry.
and then 13.
The verses inside of mezuzah are Deuteronomy 6:4 through 9 and Deuteronomy 11:13 to 21. So it's several chapters later.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Great. Thank you for that. All right, so let's move back to this amazing movie. In K-pop Demon Hunters, they are working to strengthen the Honmoon. In Korean, Honmoon can be translated by, can I just say my word constantly, and I have to check myself. It kept correcting Honmoon to honeymoon. So I have to catch myself because we're not talking about a honeymoon.
That's funny.
All right.
Does it translate to a month of honey?
No. Mm. In Korean, Honmoon can be translated by breaking down the two parts of the word. Han means soul, and moon means gate. So this Honmoon is meant to be a protective gate for the souls of the world so that they're not taken by Guima.
Does that mean Han Solo is redundant?
Han
Hmm.
Solo. Ha 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 ha. Soul Solo. If he's Korean, I guess.
I don't know
Um,
where Lucas took his influences.
that's true.
He's Corellian, so
Yeah.
it's close.
So let me ask you this. So we're I love that. And there's a lot of language pieces in this movie that I enjoyed discovering the translation for, and I like that. And Hanmoon is already part of their cultural piece, right? As you said, this is based off of a Korean folktale. So while the structure of these two are different, right? The Hanmoon is for the world and mezuzah for your home. Do we think that their purpose is the same?
No.
Also say no.
Go on.
I mean, if the Hanmoon is a real thing that keeps out the demons when it goes golden and it prevents them from infesting Earth forever, then no, you still, if you have a mezuzah on your door, you still need to lock it and set your alarm.
Right.
It's like the Honmoon has a very targeted, specific purpose. And also you have to recharge it, apparently. I've never had to recharge a mezuzah.
Oh, you actually I've heard of it. Well, like for the example that Barak gave of fixing the vision, which I would assume are the large ayin and the large dalet in the first line of Shema, which spell out the word aid, which means witness,
Oh, that could be it.
vision related. But if I had mentioned mold can make it not kosher, so you have to check it every once in a while and make sure it's kosher. And if it's got mold on it, you got to exchange the cloth, the piece of paper.
Then everything I know is wrong, Barak. I don't know.
Not everything. I don't know that I would call it recharging it, but it's parallel.
Yeah, I buy it.
I think I agree. I don't think they're the same. And I think here's what it is. I think that the Hanmoon is a protection, right, of this protective barrier that keeps things out. I think for me, the mezuzah is more important about what is within the house,
I like
right?
that.
Of the like this is a signifier that we have these certain values and that we are going to express those values in this household, whether they be community, whether they be kindness, whether they be whatever the tradition, whatever they might be, that the mezuzah is really there to protect the family by instilling in the family this sense of Judaism that you want to instill regularly.
There's also a custom. It's related to in Masechet Shabbat in the Talmud where it talks about the Chanukiah, the menorah that we light on Hanukkah, that in a time of danger you're not supposed to display the Chanukiah in a window the way you would normally display it. I would say there's precedent for hiding or taking down or not putting up a mezuzah if it would put your family at danger. But I do think that what you're saying is really striking a chord with me because yeah, the Hanmoon is about keeping things out and the mezuzah is about what we welcome in.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a
That's
time
good.
there was a time a few years ago when my wife and I, when we had just had kids and anti-Semitism was on the rise, we had a serious conversation about taking our mezuzahs off the front door because the area we were in, we didn't know if they were we had just moved to that area and we didn't know how welcoming they were going to be of a Jewish family. And we ultimately decided that we did not want to hide and that that's not who we wanted to be for our kids. So we did not take the mezuzah down. And we actually, during the Hanukkah season now, we will drive around. It's a new thing we've started doing the last 2 years. So 3 years now we've been doing this, where on the eighth night of Hanukkah, we will drive around our neighborhood at night and look for menorahs in the windowsills. And people go looking around at Christmas lights. That is our version of that now because it's really nice to see the full lights in people's windows and to be seen because that's really the purpose of them when you put them in the window is to have the community enjoy them. So we've been driving around with our kids looking for Hanukkah in the neighborhood.
When I was younger, my family did that once actually, Barak. We got into our pajamas and got into the van and we drove around a very well-known neighborhood in North Texas. And the biggest cheers from our van was the house that had no lights up except for the menorah up in the windows.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
I think that you can amp up your practice, Brock, with on Halloween in a neighborhood that we lived in California. There was this custom of giving ghost boxes where you would put a little box or a bucket with candy in it on someone else's porch with a note that said you've been ghosted, and it encourages you to do the same for other people. But you could, do like gelt bags
Oh,
or
that's fun. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, and even mention I chose this one for this episode because Halloween is around the corner, and I had another Halloween episode idea, and this movie came up, and this took its place with the demon hunting. I thought it was a
Yeah.
nice Halloween based
Yeah.
one. Um,
good idea.
okay,
Is demon hunting a Jewish thing?
As much as it is anyone else's thing, like most cultures.
what?
Well, no, most cultures have some sort of evil spirits, demons that need to be vanquished somehow. Really fascinating stuff in the. Have you ever heard the chant that some of the followers of like the Rebbe, Menachem Mendelssohn, will do, where they're like na na Nachman Nachman Meuman, something like that, like. They're building his name up larger and larger, syllable by syllable, so that they hope to bring him back to life as the Messiah. The same thing backwards is the Talmudic recipe for vanquishing a demon. Like there are certain things you have to do to vanquish a demon, and then you say its name, and then you shrink the name by one syllable each time you repeat it.
I bet our friends over at the Wayward Children podcast that we had on for Jewish
Oh,
monsters,
yeah.
magic, and stories, they probably would know the answer to that question spot on if there's
For sure.
demon hunting in Jewish culture. Yeah.
Well, the one I can think of, there's a demon that is named in the Talmud, Sharika Panda, which I've always thought was a funny name, which is why I remember it.
That's fun. All right, so in the movie, they showed different generations of demon hunters over the decades, and each one was different for that era. And I would say just like the look of the singers and the Honmoon apparently can change. What are some different mezuzah that you've seen and loved?
That's a great question.
At Green Family Camp, we had a wonderful arts specialist named Michelle. And actually, I'll plug, there was one year she's also the farm specialist. So she was the fart specialist that year.
Farm and art.
Yeah.
What a great portmanteau.
Yeah. So she is an incredibly gifted artist. And she...
Sorry, fartist.
Yes. Sorry, you're correct. So we'd have to do all these different projects, and on faculty art night, also fart night, haha.
That's every night.
What is happening? This feels like Green is just doing the Beans sketch from
I want to make it really clear that this is not the URJ Green Family Camp. This is Ethan.
Okay, great.
This is 100% Ethan. This is 99% Ethan, 1% Green Family Camp.
Yeah. So funny.
Anyway, what was it talking about? Art.
Farting. Yeah.
Yes,
fart night.
exactly. Okay. She had a project where we would use different pieces of glass, and like melt it to make the front of a mezuzah. And I have mine stashed away somewhere. It's not on my apartment doorpost, but I have a melted glass mezuzah that I made at camp that is selfishly one of my favorites.
Nice.
I'm going to share a story that might need to be cut out. So at Camp Newman in Northern California, an artist who was a former camp person, very moneyed person, donated mezuzot for after the fire to be put on all the cabins. And there are these clay, they're all the same. It's like a clay outline, and it looked like it was kind of bursting out, and it had these flaps to it with the mezuzah sitting in the middle, and we referred to them as the vajuzahs. And my mezuzah, I will say the mezuzah that I have on the door of my apartment That was the same one on the apartment that I had in Austin. So you've seen it, Ethan. And I guess Brock, you've seen
I've
it.
seen it. I've seen it.
Is a Lego Superman mezuzah that was made for me by Ethan and Al Davidson in Southern California.
If you weren't going to bring that up, Artie, why I was.
Oh,
You know, each of us have like a nice camp mezuzah thing. It's so interesting that apparently camps have the best mezuzahs.
or
Um,
worst.
or worst. I really did enjoy when I was at SciTech, and I don't know if they've changed them or not, but we did an activity one of the days for people. The kids made their own mezuzah, and we're able to bring them home, and many of them were first summer were made and kept for the camp, and so they're put up around the camp during the summertime, and they're test tubes with like copper wiring around it. It was just
That's
like
cool.
so it's so good for the space. And I think I've seen Lego based ones also. But my wife got me a really nice mezuzah when I when we redid the basement and this became my office door. On it, there is just a whole bunch of like nerd based stuff, knowing that this was going to be like my nerd haven. So there's periodic table elements that spell out the word nerdy. There's a pi symbol. There's pairs of dice. There's a video game controller. There's a Spider-Man comic cover, all within like the art of this mezuzah for me to enjoy every time I go in and out of my office.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All of the mezuzot that we've talked about are wonderful in their own right. And I want to highlight again that it's probably not a coincidence that it is also tied to camp.
Yeah, probably. I would agree.
Yeah.
I've seen really beautiful ones also. I think not that they're not as memorable, but these camp ones have this unique element to them. Or like the one on my door, I will like it's just so unique that I've seen so many beautiful mezuzot that they just kind of blend together unless there's something that makes it uniquely stand out. That there's so many gorgeous mezuzot out there. I've seen wonderful homemade ones. I've seen really fancy glass blown and colorful, and I really like the unique stuff about it.
I've been thinking about mezuzot a lot lately, actually, coincidentally, because as the two of you know for sure, and probably our listeners as well, I am currently serving two congregations that are in the process of unifying. And one of the things that I'm trying to encourage is to not use anyone's old stuff. Rather than use this congregation's mezuzot and this congregation's yads and this congregation's Torah covers, I'm trying to encourage people to gift new ones, especially when it's things like a Shabbat candles and Kiddush cup and all that. But a mezuzah, I think, is a really big deal thing that could be a beautiful gift to the congregation anew. And I think it would go along with the ceremony that is customarily done when a mezuzah is hung, where you put it up almost all the way, and then you say the blessing, which is a blessing of commandment, which means it starts off, "Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who blessed us with your commandments and commanded us to affix a mezuzah." Likboa mezuzah is how it ends. And that ritual is that prayer is said, and then the hammer is brought down to seal the mezuzah against the wall to do the final few taps of a hammer. And then often you'll say Shema and then welcome people into your home for food. And I think the scale at which we could do that at the synagogue, like do that on the main door
Mm.
and maybe the sanctuary door and the chapel doors, and bring people in at different levels to do different things. And then I have all these like programming ideas with like, because a mezuzah is not only telling us to put these words on the doorpost of your house, but also to speak of them when you go and when you come and when you lie down and when you rise up, to take like sections of the synagogue and say, this is, here's, we're going to do a teaching on this area and a teaching on this area, all based on speaking these
Mm.
words wherever we can.
That's nice. Yeah, I don't think I've ever really been to a mezuzah based program aside from SciTech when we're making it. It's really like not an ignored piece, but it's like a one that's taken for granted, I think.
It's also a beautiful little ceremony that people don't often do in their homes. But I mean, the key to a mezuzah is it turns the building from a house into a home.
Yeah.
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 I remember getting to, as green expanded, you're getting to go to a couple of those ceremonies. It's very special.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. I have a follow-up question to that one.
No.
Is that since the Honmoon changed, because the members of Huntrix changed to represent their inner strength, if your mezuzah changed based on your inner strength, what would your soul-created mezuzah look like?
What an interesting question. I think I would find it easier to tell you what your soul mezuzahs would
Oh, great. Do that. Make it easier on us, and we'll tell you what yours looks like. Artie Wise is a spoon with red and blue colors. Yeah.
Love it.
I don't
I
think
mean,
I've ever seen a mezuzah that's just a spoon. That's a unique one. That would be great.
and you do like put it in the like the palm of the spoon.
Yeah, something. Something. We'll figure it out. Good.
Um, I think Barack, you would have something that's like play based and also educational that like would welcome people in like like some kind of welcoming dragon on the top of a
Yeah.
bank, for
Oh my
example.
God, that'd be so fun. A
Um,
dragon mezuzah? I want a dragon mezuzah. Oh my gosh.
And Ethan, I think the one that you would produce would be something that like only a few people would really understand, but everyone would like it.
That might be one of the nicest things anyone's ever said.
Not like a teleporter, like a Star Trek teleporter
Oh
base.
yeah, shaped
Yeah.
like.
Transporter.
Oh, I'm sorry, transporter. Great.
I'm glad I
Um,
didn't say the word.
Yeah. All right. In the process of coming up with a smash, there were some other things I was thinking about, but I want to just roll it to you. What are some other protection-based items that exist in Jewish culture?
The red string.
Oh, around your wrist.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, go on.
Another one of those customs that stems from Kabbalistic tradition that we don't have time on this podcast to get into, but very often people will put on a red string as a protective talisman. If you go to Israel and give money to someone, very often that they'll tie a little red string on you, and people will say like, don't take it off, let it fall off, and that's like your boon for giving tzedakah. And there's also the evil eye or a chamsa, which is a hand-shaped talisman.
Is there a certain direction the Khamsa? Just for those that haven't seen, the Khamsa is just like a hand. I know Artie held his hand up, but
Right.
is there a direction that goes? Like the horseshoe's supposed to be with the open side up so the luck doesn't fall out? Is the Khamsa supposed to be up or down or any
Yeah,
direction?
fingers up. It's supposed to be fingers up, and most people do it wrong because it's easier to put the hole at the bottom of the palm
Mm,
or to put a loop on the bottom of the palm, but it's supposed to be displayed fingers up.
okay.
you heard it here, folks. You're doing it wrong.
Ethan, any protection items that you know exist in Jewish culture?
Oh, it's interesting. The first thing I thought of was actually kashrut.
Oh, just kosher laws.
Yeah, those were designed to protect you
Against
Oh,
intermarriage.
against foods that back then we didn't know how to cook well.
Yeah, I think that's coincidence.
Okay.
I've heard that before
Oh.
too, but I think it's coincidence rather than design.
there's two.
But I like the answer.
There's two others I had on my list that I don't that they didn't scream as similar as the mezuzah did to the Hanmoon. An Eruv, which isn't really a protective circle; it's more of a permission circle. For those
Which
that
which kind of makes it more like the Honmoon than other things.
really
Because because the Honmoon gives them permission or not permission to be in the world.
sure, yeah. So for those that don't know, the Eruv is this string or wire that's put around a neighborhood, uh, so that people can do things that they're permitted to do in their home,
Carry.
like carry items, and do them outside in your community. So often there is
On
don't-
Shabbat specifically.
on Shabbat specifically. Thank you. And so you can carry things in your home. You're not allowed to carry things outside. So if you needed to go to the supermarket, you couldn't carry stuff back. But you wouldn't exchange money.
Go to the supermarket.
That's a terrible example. That's a terrible example.
If you needed to go to someone's house for Shabbat lunch, you wouldn't be permitted to carry anything if you had to carry it from a private domain to a public domain.
Yeah.
And Eruv turns everything into everyone's private domain.
Yeah. So that was one. And then the other piece I have is the Ark where their Torah is kept. But I don't know specifically if the Ark has any like protective qualities as much as just a good storage space to protect the Torah, but just with it not any mystical properties.
I've never heard of the Ark being mystical, except that they call it Aron HaKodesh, which HaKodesh means holy.
Mm-hmm.
And Aron, we say, means Ark. So you'd say Holy Ark. But if you really want to drill down, it means Holy Cabinet.
Right, and it's nothing like the Ark of the Covenant from the Indiana Jones movie. Like,
Ark.
right, when Jews aren't in the sanctuary and a non-Jew opens the Ark, ghosts don't pop out and scream and whatever. Like, it's nothing like that.
Correct. But sometimes you could find bread in it.
Sure, we told that story, I think.
I have told that
Yeah.
story.
If you're curious about the story, better go back to episode 1 and find it missing somewhere. Find that in our database.
It's the Torah Smash Where's Waldo.
Yes.
I do like that idea. We've been hiding things over the last 3 years.
Specifically bread in an ark. Go figure it out. Okay, great. As we sort of wrap up for this, I have this question and I don't feel it's going to get the proper respect it deserves. What was your favorite song from K-pop Demon Hunters?
It's golden.
Golden for you. Excellent. Good choice.
The closing credits, because then
I knew you were gonna say that.
You're so mean. It's such a good.
It was well done. It was a well done movie.
Yeah.
I will say what I liked was at the very beginning of the movie when the flamey demon was starting to was like debating with the other demons about who's going to go up and try the next step, and they introduced the boy band.
Yeah.
The first time the boy band starts like harmonizing, there are added noises of opening a soda can. And I'm like, what's with the soda can noise? And then a few minutes later, they sing soda pop.
Yeah.
So I thought that was clever.
Oh, fun. Yeah. Here's the thing. There's a lot of clever stuff in this movie. First, I'll say, I think my favorite song might be Soda Pop, just because of how overly catchy it is, as well as the first one in the movie, How It's Done. I loved that too. Here's some pieces about the songs though. Is they wrote the songs so that Huntrix music was really like emotional and connected with you as an individual, as with your soul kind of thing. And the Saja Boys songs are supposed to be extremely surface level, right? That they are not. You're supposed to be like, well, I love Huntrix, but I'm really enjoying Saja Boys, and I don't know why, because Huntrix is so much deeper to me as a person, but I can't get my head to stop singing Saja Boys, right?
Even the Huntrix trio was bopping their shoulders.
Yeah. It's meant to be this just emotionless, soulless, catchy pop stuff. Like,
but Golden is the most popular song out there right now.
It is. It went platinum.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they got handed a platinum record when they went on to Jimmy
SNL.
Fallon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, one of the late night people handed them their platinum. Like they got announced then that they got their platinum album, which was awesome.
And we haven't talked about the performers themselves.
Yeah.
We usually bring that up as a topic pretty quickly when we're talking about physical actors. And the 3 Huntrix performers I did not recognize, but their coach was in Lost. She was the woman who didn't talk for most of the first season of Lost.
Oh, fun. And her husband played
Daniel Day Kim.
Yeah, Daniel Day Kim was he played the voice of Guima.
Right.
Yeah.
And Bobby, the agent, is Ken Jeong.
Yeah, there's a great cast. And I will correct you to say that you said the 3 Huntrix actors. There's actually 6, because each of the main characters in this movie that sings has an actor and a vocalist person performing for them. And so it's same thing with Saja Boys. There's a actor who does the dialogue, and then there's vocalists who perform for each of those characters as well.
Because they didn't get Egerton.
Maybe, I guess. All right, well, I want to wrap up, but I just like I had like a list of fun Afikoman and secret things. I'll give 2. I'll give one Saja Boys. Saja in Korean means lion. It has two meanings. One is lion, which was their symbol on all of their stuff, this lion. The other meaning of Saja is Grim Reaper.
Ooh, that's
So
cool.
really, like, it's
Nice.
really cool, this stuff. The other thing that I really enjoyed was the duplicate purpose of Takedown. Is that
Yeah.
they wrote the song in purpose of destroying the Saja Boys, which I also loved that wasn't the right song because the only way to bring the Honmoon around was to bring people together, and Takedown is tearing people apart. But the way that it's sang for Saja Boys was so different than when the demons took over the stage and sang it to Rumi, the main
Yeah, the
character.
tenor changed.
Yeah, not just the tenor, but the whole purpose of each line twisted around. Like they talked about patterns, and when they're talking about it for the Saja Boys, I think it really means the physical patterns you see. But
Yeah.
when they talk about it with Rumi, it really translates more into her habits, like her way of keeping secrets and locking people out as that pattern.
Which was also a pattern. She was
Yeah.
hunting a pattern.
Yeah. It just there's so much. I like sincerely go and watch it again. Listen to the words, right? I loved in Soda Pop, it's about drink you up, like they're trying to drink your souls. In I'm Your Idol, right? It's less about they just want you and it's just the surface, the writing underneath the surface for all of it was gorgeous to me.
I
It
wouldn't call
really
that underneath the surface. I mean, I think it was right there.
I don't if some of it just feels maybe as you're saying, a lot of it's super fun for the kids and the adults go like, "Wow, that's really well written." I just found it to be so well written. I really did.
I don't think I was paying enough attention to it to
Mm.
pick up on any afikomen, but I did like some of the one-liners and things that I can't remember anymore because
Yeah.
I watched it a while ago.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact that I can now refer to it when I am talking to my B'nai Mitzvah student.
Mhm. Yeah. No, it was really
Glad to make you relevant.
Yeah.
Torah Smash, making RDY relevant since 2022.
Yeah. Awesome. We didn't talk about the cat, the tiger, and the bird, and they were adorable, and I
Love
loved
that.
them. And I will say my prediction is that they were connected to Genu, the cat and the bird, and they were outside of the Honmoon at the end of the movie because Genu gave his soul to Rumi at the end as he's protecting her. And so my theory is that if and when there is a sequel, Genu still has the possibility to
If
come around.
Barack?
Right? How could they not? But
Yeah, it
they
made them a
could.
lot of money.
Yeah. My theory is that he has the possibility of coming back around because his familiars are out above the Hunmoon, where everything else is below the Hunmoon.
And you saying that reminded me of a line that I really did like when she said, "What's with the hat?" And he said, "I got the hat for the tiger," and the bird keeps stealing it.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah. Fun fact that happened because that was in the writer's room, and somebody asked, "Why does the bird have a hat?" And the person in the writer's room said, just as a joke, "Well, I made it for the cat, but the bird keeps stealing it." And it made it into the movie.
That's funny.
Yeah. So really great. All right. So what I really love about this is that the Honmoon and the mezuzah isn't just to remind us that protection isn't just about keeping something out, but it's also important to remember what is within. Both of these are symbols of connection between the physical and the spiritual. So whether it's a glowing gate pulsing to K-pop beats or a small scroll quietly hanging on your doorpost, each one is there to remind us of the values we want to hold on to. And maybe, if you listen closely the next time you walk through your doorway, you'll hear your mezuzah humming a little bit of what it sounds like.
We're going up a Tower Mountain.
That's right. It is.
Some of the lyrics were Korean, I think.
Yes,
or I
absolutely.
just flat out couldn't understand them.
You were not paying it close enough attention. No, yeah, they were. It's K-pop. It's Korean pop. So that's often how K-pop works: is that they'll have Korean words when it's made for English. They'll still keep some lines there.
That's cool. I like that. I mean, we do that in Jewish music too.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
I loved it. So much to take from it. My best friend who's trans says it's a trans allegory, and I say more power to her.
Yeah,
It's great.
Cool.
You be who you are inside, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will also say there were a lot of other places I thought you were going to go with this until you honed in
Yeah.
when you told us specifically what you were looking at, because I saw it as, a warning against idolatry. I saw it as a classic good versus evil. There are a lot of lessons to draw from it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, and I've seen when I search some stuff, there are Jewish educators utilizing K-pop in their Jewish classrooms for different elements. So, yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be a Purim spiel.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's probably so good. So good. I would love that. Little Hamantashen with a tiny hat on it. Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Torah Smash. Our fiscal sponsor is Jewish Creativity International. Our theme music was created by Sean Fogel. You can check out Sean's bands and studio work at www.thesleepywest.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen. It helps others find us and is an excellent way to support the podcast. We want to hear from you and continue today's nerdy discussion. Go to torahsmash.com to find where to connect with us online, purchase swag from our store, support us with a donation, find previous episodes, and more. And why didn't the Saja boys accept the 10 Commandments? Because they wanted to be your idol.
It's fine. I'll sit here in the dark. Can I correct myself, please?
No.
Yeah.